I am trying to put up my slides, but I've not been made the host yet. I've called Mr. Gabriel to make me the host. So I'm just waiting for that. Well, we are trying another. Okay, I've been made the host now. We're trying another means of recording. We're trying to evolve. You know, evolution keeps, going on and on. So we're trying another means of recording, and then we had to test run it with the diploma class, which we thought was okay. Uh, because of that, I may not be putting on my video. Okay, but please, I am here. I'm the one talking on direct. But you may not be seeing my face just because of the means of recording. As soon as we test run it, I'll let you will see it yourself, and then maybe going forward, it can be a different story entirely. All right, we welcome to class, everyone. I'm happy you're here. Hope you had a good Easter last week. Hope you're working already. I'll advise you put off your videos if you're here because of the level of recording we're doing. Please put off your videos. Bambushe, please turn off your video if your video is on. Um, all right. We're starting with strategic contest today, ADIP 01, and I have been informed we stopped on strategic investment. Uh, much as I would like to teach us strategic investments, I would like to breeze through, or better still, I'd like us to pause strategic investment and move to uh, some more critical topics because the exams are coming closer. But when we finish those topics, definitely we'll still touch and conclude on strategic investment before we all face our exams. But fine, for your strategic investment, permit me to jump. All right. We have not considered strategic investment, just pause it there. But permit me to jump to uh uh some other topics which I feel we should quickly cover. Especially now that you have your past questions and you're going through your past questions. Let's cover some other things, then we can come back to strategic investments. Um, I know we've done resource planning, allocation, and use under ADIP 01, and I think it is fine to just quickly connect it to the resource planning for stakeholder objectives and then conclude on everything about it before we then move on to other things and then come back to strategic investment. Now, we'll be considering today resource planning for stakeholder objectives. Resource planning for stakeholder objectives. Well, it is there. I would have asked you who a stakeholder is. Now, you must understand that as long as you are in organizations, as long as you are in any business concern, even if it is not a business concern, uh, as long as you are in the world, okay, you are flanked, here and there by people who are directly or indirectly affected by the things you do. or by the things you do not do. So by your actions or inactions, there are people who are flanked, who are here and there affected. The same thing with organizations. Okay. Organizations are also uh uh you know organizations also do have this array of people um who are interested or affected and affected by what the organization does, or by what the organization does not do. So today we are going to be looking at stakeholder objectives and how organizations can manage stakeholders um, in the long run. How um, those that are saddled with implementing strategies can see their strategies uh, come to light just because of proper management of stakeholders, or see their objectives or see their strategies fall and fail just because of stakeholders. So in this study today, the lesson today, we're expecting that at the end of the lesson, you will know who stakeholders are. You will know their particular interests in organizations, how they're categorized and their interests. And then you will know how they are managed, or how they're supposed to be managed, for you to have effective results as uh, a manager, a leader, or in your capacity as one that is supposed to implement strategies. Freeman, 1984, defined stakeholders as any group or any individual, any group or any individual who can affect or is affected by the achievement of the activities of an organization. Any group, any individual who can affect the achievement of an organization, the achievement of the activities of an organization, or can be affected by the achievement of the activities of an organization. All right. So any group or any person that can affect by their actions, inactions, can affect the achievement of certain activities within an organization, or can be affected by, is a stakeholder. So you cast your mind now to your own organizations and begin to imagine those you feel could be stakeholders. Now, to further understand stakeholders, we'll break them broadly or categorize them broadly into primary and secondary stakeholders. Now, primary stakeholders are those who are close to the business and have some form of contractual relationship with the organization. Primary stakeholders, those who are close to the business and they have some form of contractual relationship with the organization. And by that, I'm sure you'll be thinking customers, employees, suppliers, and so on. These are those that have some kind of contractual relationship with the business. And because of that contractual relationship, we categorize them as being close to the business. They are the primary stakeholders. And remember, a stakeholder is those that can affect or can be affected by the achievement of objectives of an organization. Like I used to say, if you have questions, you can always ask. Now, secondary stakeholders are those who do not have any contractual relationship with the organization, but are very important to the image and reputation of the organization. Secondary. The primary have close, especially contractual relationship with the organization, but the secondary do not have close relationship with the organization, but they don't have any contractual relationship rather with the organization, but they are very important, you know, for the organization, especially in the areas of their image and reputation. And then we look at the media, for instance. Some people feel that yes, we don't owe the media anything, but the media can make or mar organizations, NGOs, civil society groups. These people can make or mar organizations as much as the internal or primary stakeholders. They can make or mar organizations. Now, you would begin to understand that with the category of people we've mentioned, you're beginning to see that every organization hovers around stakeholders, whether primary stakeholders or the secondary stakeholders. Let's look at stakeholder groups now. We're going to be looking at the internal and external stakeholders. That's for the purpose of this discussion. Just like the name implies, okay? Internal stakeholders are usually comprised of groups of employees or as opposed to individuals. Now, we want to make something very clear here that when we talk about stakeholders in this sense, and we say internal, okay, uh, uh, we look at them as groups, as a group instead of looking at them as individuals. So for the employees, we look at them as a group of employees, okay? A group of employees, for instance. Yes, while an individual is able to do whatever they feel they can do, or whatever anybody fears they can do, okay? Uh, when it comes to stakeholders, we look at them as a group. So stakeholder groups are the ones we are looking at now. Okay. Now, uh, you would understand that every group of stakeholders will comprise different people. And these different people will have maybe different disciplines. They may have different levels of influences within the organization and all that. Just think of normally these civil society groups that we have in every organization. What do we call them? Labor groups. I don't know if that's the right name to call them. Labor unions. Am I correct? Can anybody hear me? Have you heard of labor
Yes,
unions?
sir, you're correct.
Good.
Labor unions.
Thank you. Labor unions. I know when we begin to go very uh selective, some industries or organizations have the particular names they call their own, or the labor union itself is fragmented into different groups. I think that's what I should say. But then you see that the labor union of the nation, for instance, okay, uh, is supposed to comprise of labor, the entire labor in the nation. But then when it comes to organization by organization, they also have their labor representatives, their labor unions. These are stakeholder groups because they're all employees. Okay. that come together to form such. So if you keep your mind, if you cast your mind to labor unions, then you might begin to uh understand, the level of power that stakeholders likely are likely to wield. So for the internal, that's just an example. Let's move on. We'll still be looking at how to map them, how to uh, understand the kind of power they wield, and how to manage them. External organizational stakeholders include such groups as shareholders, investors, trade unions, civil society groups, media, government, regulatory bodies, and suppliers. Now, um, these people are external to the organization. Remember, I mentioned labor union, and I try to make you understand that I am talking about the ones that pertain to each organization, all right, not the entire body that has all organizations in it. We can trickle them down to each organization. Now, if you watch the external, we're now looking at the wider group itself, the shareholders, the investors, trade unions, civil societies, media, government, regulatory bodies, all these, okay, that we likely feel they have no tie to the organization, or that the organization has no responsibility towards them. But if you have a very, good look, you would understand that these unions, these groups can make, like I used to say, or mar organizations. All right. So, uh, what we intend to do, number one, like I said, is to know what or who stakeholders are. And number two, understand the kind of power they wield and how to manage them. Many a times, um, these stakeholders can become from this simple thing we're looking at. Yes, P, let's hear you.
Okay, sir. From the internal stakeholders, you mentioned the suppliers there too, and here we are still having them from the external side of it. Can it be that the suppliers are on both sides?
No, I mentioned
Suppliers.
I mentioned suppliers under the primary stakeholders, not internal.
Okay, primary, not
Yeah,
okay. Primary.
primary
Okay.
primary is not another word for internal in this
Oh
case.
no.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. All
Okay.
right.
It's clear.
Let's go on. Now, if you pick these stakeholders, as a standalone group, you may not understand the kind of conflict that will be that you may have to put up with when you are a manager or a strategy implementer. You may not understand the level of issues you may deal with. But when you begin to see how these stakeholders liaise, you know, form alliances, okay, try to buy each other's fight or buy each other's um, 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 attention by joining forces, to make sure they bring whoever they want to, or to make sure they, put the fire on whoever is a guilty party, then you would understand. Take, for instance, how one person could be um, in trouble. Maybe not the person's fault, but a bigger person is just trying to torment or oppress a smaller person, and see somehow sometimes how social media people pick up the fight. and one person is saying it, the other person is saying it, the other person is saying it, the other person is saying it, it is going to bigger bloggers, bigger whatever names, and the more it gets there, the more attention, people pay because they feel this is getting important. That is how these alliances can run, and that is why you want to understand their powers. You want to understand that if they go or when they go form alliances against your strategy, against your proposal, the proposal may not see the light of day. It is only at that point you will understand how to manage them. Captain P, are you still want to ask questions?
No, sir, not for now.
Your hand is still up. Don't let your hand start paining you.
Okay, okay, sorry.
All right. All right. Thank you. Don't mind me. Okay, let's go. Now, I want to see stakeholder mapping. Stakeholder mapping. Well, if those of you that came from the diploma class to this class, you understand when we say mapping, okay? You understand how we did supply chain mapping and supply chain relationship mapping and all that. But then for stakeholder mapping, okay, all we need to do, or what we're trying to do when we come mapping, is to identify uh, stakeholders, understand their expectations, and also the level of conflict they can bring to the table, and then through that possibly know how to manage them. Stakeholder mapping will help us to identify these stakeholders, uh, understand their expectations and the conflict they are likely, able uh, to brew, and then know how to manage them. Normally, uh, as a manager, as a leader, one should be able to understand that at that position is for you to be able to manage varying and various expectations. All right, varying expectations, various expectations, different expectations will come. And then you also know that when these varying expectations come or different expectations come and you're able to manage them individually, you should also be thinking, what if these expectations go form an alliance and they all come, like a mighty tornado? You should also, as a leader, be able to stop them. Now, a modern strategist must try to map stakeholders' expectations, reactions to proposed change. As a leader, as a manager, as a supervisor, you sometimes are interested in proposing certain changes, okay? You want to propose a change, you want to propose a strategy, you want to propose something to the organization, but then you are going to be up against stakeholders. If you don't understand what their expectations are, if you don't understand their mapping, their grouping, if you don't understand how to manage them, that proposal may not see the light of day. That's where we're going. And so we want to understand, how do we understand these stakeholders, profile them, map them, and then manage them in order to get the best. Now, I'll read from this slide. It says this needs to be done in order to ensure that an accurate judgment can be made relating. Sorry about that. Can you still see my slide?
Yes, I can see a slide.
That call that came in, it's made me lose my slide. Let me please, I'll connect again. Where are you? You. All right. Um, like I said, in order to push your proposal through, in order to make your propositions accepted, or at least gain the strength you want it to gain and the attention, you should be able to manage uh, your stakeholders. So we have to ask these three questions in order to understand or to know how far we can push vis-a-vis the kinds of stakeholders we might need to be dealing with. Number one, if the proposed change goes ahead, what is the likelihood of each stakeholder group and stakeholder alliance seeking to influence and to resist the change? I have a change up my sleeves, okay? I have some proposals up my sleeves and I want to push it through. What will be the likelihood of each stakeholder group or stakeholder alliance seeking to influence and resist this change? I'm sure we've talked about change in this class and reasons for resistance to change. I don't know, but I think we have. Now, we know that change will always be resisted, especially at the first sight. All right. On the immediate, change will first and foremost be resisted. But then there are different ways with which we can push change through. So if you have to propose any change, you are beginning to measure, beginning to think the likelihood, of which the stakeholder groups and stakeholders alliances or alliance would seek to resist the change or seek to influence the change. Number two, how powerful is each stakeholder group or alliance of groups? How powerful is each of them? Okay. And can their will to resist or alter plan changes be assessed? Can you assess their will to resist a planned change or to alter a change? How powerful are they? Remember, the more powerful they are, the more likely you must serve their purpose or convince them before your proposal can go through. I hope we understand what we're talking about. So study should take your mind out of the box and see that really for every change you see happen within the organization, so many things have gone into consideration. So many things have been considered. So many fights have been, uh, 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 I don't know, uh, you know, addressed. Should I use that word? And all that for it to come to the light of day. So if you or while you are getting into such positions where you can propose change, you must understand that stakeholders are not just there for you to, you know, they're not just sleeping, okay? They are called stakeholders for some very, very critical reasons. Now, the third, what impact may the expectations of stakeholder groups and alliances have on future planned changes? You have a change. I've just made it as beautiful, as easy as I can make it. You are a manager. You have a proposed change up your sleeves, and you are ready to push this change through. You want to guide yourself by these three questions. Number two is very key. How powerful is each stakeholder group or alliance? Okay, and can their will to alter or to resist plan change be assessed? Number one, If the change goes through, what's the likelihood that they will resist it or they will influence it? Number three, what impact may their expectations, have on future? That's what am I supposed to consider, their expectations before I try to propose future changes. Okay, let's go on. Now, there are two common stakeholder mapping tools we're going to be using. We're going to be looking at the power dynamism matrix. That's the first tool. And the second tool is the power interest matrix or matrix. That's the second tool. And if you look at page 108 of your material, you'll see that more elaborately discussed. So the first one, look at the name, the power dynamism matrix. Power dynamism matrix. The second one is the power interest matrix. We want to use this tool to map the stakeholders. I want to crave your indulgences to open to page 108 of your material while I am discussing this. So when I begin to try to link it up, you would understand what I'm talking about. Now, the power dynamism matrix is used to assess the potential power wielded by each group in the matrix and defines the stakeholders. We'll start describing them, but the stakeholders in group D are the most potentially dangerous or supportive. What we are looking at under power dynamism matrix is we're just describing their potential, the potential power they wield, the potential power they wield. And if you can profile or map your own stakeholders and know the ones that fall under these categories we want to mention, then you begin to know how to serve them and how to play your organizational politics in a way that most of your plans can always see the light of day. We've just mentioned in the first paragraph there that the group D is the most potentially dangerous. Okay. And uh uh what that means is that this group itself, the group D, if they throw their weight behind you, then you have full support. If they take their support from you, then you know the plan is maybe on the verge of being doomed. Okay. If you want the plan to see the light of day, then I think the most important group under the power dynamism matrix, the most important group to look at and to focus on will be the group D. Has anybody opened to 108? How do we categorize the group D? Is anybody there? Is anybody there? Page 108 of your material, ADIP 01.
Okay, I'm here.
Yeah, can you tell us
I'm,
did we describe the group D people in that matrix there?
okay, what was written here? I said group D. Okay, let me take from beginning. The power dynamism metric is used to assess the potential power
Oh,
wielded by each group.
is there a matrix? If you go that page,
Yeah,
is there
there
a
is.
diagram
There is a
drawn?
metric.
Where we have A,
Yeah,
B,
there's
C.
a, yeah, there is. There is.
Good. Read what is written in the box D.
Greatest danger or opportunities.
Under group D, right?
Under group D, yes.
Good.
Greatest danger or
Danger or
opportunities.
opportunities. What about Group C?
Group C, powerful but predictable.
Powerful but predictable. And then Group A and B.
Group A, fewer problems.
Okay, and B.
B, unpredictable but manageable.
Thank you.
Welcome,
I
sir.
would have loved to put that on the screen. I don't know if others are looking at it. Thank you very much, Captain P. Um, I don't know if others are looking at it, but I would have loved all of us to look at these things together and share. Um, oh, let me see if I can bring that up. I think it's very important that we look at it because ADIP. Just a sec, please. Okay, let me see how that goes. Where are you? All right. Under the power dynamism matrix, you would see that we have the matrices. If you look at the diagram, underneath you have dynamism, low to high, and on the left side you see power, and it goes from low to high also. D says the group D, the stakeholders that fall under group D are those that have the greatest danger or opportunities rather. The C, powerful but predictable. Now, if you have some very powerful people, but then you can predict them, then they don't form too much of a problem, except you are careless. Once they are predictable, however powerful they are, in short, predictability controls or minimizes or reduces power most of the time. Now, the B says unpredictable but manageable. All right. So no matter what they spring, what they bring up, whatever springs from them, you can always manage it, even if they are largely unpredictable. Okay. And then A says fewer problems. Now, if you are able to look at the stakeholders you have in your organization, from the primary stakeholders, the employees, the supplier, the customers, and you're able to put which customer should fall in group D, which employer, employee rather, or group of employees fall in group D, which group of customers fall in group D, which ones fall in group C, group B, group A. If you are able to do some due diligence and you are able to put stakeholders in these boxes, then you'll understand that for every time you need to push something through, every time you need to push something through, it has to go in that order of trying to address and satisfy those that have the greatest danger opportunities. Remember, it is danger or opportunities. If you do them well, you have the greatest support. If they are not pleased, you have the greatest fight. Then you can't move then to, in fact, if you win these people, the stakeholders in D, you might as well have won the fight. Okay? Because the stakeholders in D can then help you, okay, manage the other groups. I was talking to someone and we're trying to see how we can bring a bit of an innovation to the organization. And then we're talking about, okay, do this and do that. Let the top most level managers buy into it. Once they buy into it, now they are not the problems, they are not the ones you want to correct. Okay, the people you want to correct are people that are just somewhere. You're looking at them, you want to correct certain of their actions, you want to correct, correct or try to modify their behavior when it comes to dealing with customers and organization. And we're saying let the managers, the topmost managers, okay, the orgas, let them buy into it. Once they can buy into it and sign it off, then call the stakeholders, the external stakeholders. Let them come for a meeting. Once they also sign it off, the people you need to modify their behavior will have no choice. What were we trying to do? We're trying to pick strategically from this matrix those that are able to influence decisions. People that are having fewer problems will have nothing to fight against when they see that D and C have alluded to your proposed plans. Let's not delay that too much. Let's move on. So power dynamism matrix, we have classified them according to the power they have, okay, and the power they can wield. Let's move on to the next one, which is the power interest matrix. The power interest matrix. Here, we're talking about the level of interest they have. All right? The level of interest these stakeholders have. If you go again, A, their what they put into the job, what they put into anything that is coming from the organization is just minimal effort. They don't care too much. B, just keep them informed. Keep them informed. C, keep them satisfied. And D are the key players. If you link it to the first matrix, you begin to see that those that can wield the most trouble or opportunities are the key players. Those that are predictable, but they are very powerful, just keep those ones satisfied and you can have your way. All right. The ones that have um um manageable, they are unpredictable, they are manageable. Keep them informed. All right. And then you just exert minimum effort on the fewer ones that don't think that fall under group A. High point of the lesson today is that you should be able to profile your stakeholders. You may not have all of them at your fingertip. The ones you have and know, try to put them under this matrix. And as you get to know more, keep filing them in. Keep filing. Now, you're not just filing in because you like the name or you don't like the name. You're using what they do, what they wield, how they influence, how they are mentioned in the boardroom. The concerns of other managers about some of them show you where they belong. And then when you're able to identify all of them, you always know who to speak to, okay, for every other person to be calm or quiet. I used to have a boss then not my direct boss, but he was a boss to my direct boss. And then he wanted to be something that needed the approval of the president of the country. And then he found his colleague, a junior colleague to him in his office then. He found that colleague and told the colleague to go and, because that colleague is an in-law to the president, he told that colleague to go and help him talk to the president that they should make him so and so in the organization, because that position is supposed to be more of an appointment position rather than a career position. So he wanted to be, if given the nod, he would have resigned, and then the president of the country will now appoint him to that position. When the man got to see the president, I said this man is an in-law to the president. The president asked him, You're coming to talk for your colleague, whoever the colleague is. Are you not also big enough to occupy that position? So we are giving you so and so number of days. Okay, go and think and prepare your mind for that position. If you don't want it, let us know. We'll put somebody there. We're not giving it to that your colleague that sent you to come and talk to us. And before you know it, because it's either coming to him or someone else and not he was loyal enough to go and talk to the president for his boss. But he turned when he got there to say it's either him or someone else and not his boss that will be appointed to that position. And for him to allow it to go to someone else, he had to accept. So he resigned and he was appointed that position. So he became head over his boss. Do you understand? He became a boss to his former boss. And at the end, many of them retired, under him, so to speak. Now, whatever fight and all that, I'm not interested. I'm just trying to say that there are some powerful stakeholders that when you meet, every other quarrel stops. When you have them on your boat, nobody dares, you know, uh, uh, trouble the waters you're sailing in. All right. So you should be able to profile these people and get them, or know where to channel your energy, where to focus, all your politics in the organization in order to get a good uh, resting place for your planned uh, proposals or propositions. Any questions? Do we have any question? Is it clear so far? Or is there a question?
No question, sir.
All right, I want to bring up my slides so we can
No
just.
question, sir.
All right. Where did you go to? Oh, all right. So we have looked at those two. Now, when you compare those two to how you manage, channel your resources within the organization, you understand that yes, even in deciding resource allocation, resource use, uh, and planning of your resource, definitely sometimes some people could raise their heads to want to oppose. One thing that solves noise in the organization will be you knowing who the stakeholders are, categorizing them, knowing their interests, knowing their power, the power they wield, and try to channel your energy to making sure that you have the buy-in of those I'm not saying they don't think. I'm not saying stakeholders don't think or they must just, you may face an accoling task in they're trying to buy into some of your policies or your proposals. You may have to keep adjusting and adjusting and adjusting till it fits into the larger society. You may have to do one or two things and all that until, but the fact is that if you channel your energy well, once you have their buying, then you are fine and free to fly. Okay, so let's move on. Another thing I'd like us to quickly touch on is sustainable corporate development. Sustainable corporate development. Now, I have picked these topics, or there are topics in our module for this um um advanced diploma, all right? But then I don't want them to stay till the very end before we start talking about them. So it's better we'll leave the ones that, are not too important and deal with the ones that are very, very important. Sustainable corporate development. Now, when we hear the word sustainable, we should be thinking of long lasting, okay? Lasting for a very long time. Okay. And then when we hear the word corporate, all right, we should be looking at coming from the topmost level of the organization, coming from the topmost level of the organization. And then when we hear the word development, uh, we should be talking about growth, okay? Growth from every angle of the organization. All right. So now we're looking at um, sustainable corporate development. Uh, what we are looking at in this case, now, what we're looking at now is how to ensure that the growth within the organization stays for or is long lasting, is durable, it's enduring, it remains for a long, long time. Okay. Uh, uh, that word sustainability is one thing or one tool that policymakers use, it's a strategic tool that policies makers use in order to keep their organizations or to ensure their organizations keep growing as it as should be. What we're going to be looking at today under this topic is quite simple. We want to see how organization or what defines the growth within organizations and how this growth should be sustained. What defines the growth within the organization and how the growth should be sustained. Let's look at the concept of sustainability. Formally, okay, formally or uh traditionally, sustainability was connected to what we call survival. Win today, okay, and keep winning. Survive by any means. Just make sure you are winning. Now, when I say by any means, it could be very good means. It could also be a means that is not so good. But as long as you are surviving, that is fine by us. And people begin to use words like, or sentences or statements like, the end justifies the means. All right, because we don't care how you got to the end. All right, any means with which you got to the end is fine, as long as as long as the end is fine and okay. But really, that's not supposed to be so true. Okay, so under the traditional mindset, sustainability is about just remain at the top no matter what. Just remain at the top regardless what is happening. But today, sustainability is changing definition in our contemporary time. It is changing definition gradually. And for today, we are now looking at sustainability more of, yes, survive, stay at the top for as long as you must, because it's supposed to be sustainable, but then not at the detriment of people and not at the detriment of the environment. So in the bid to survive and to stay on top the competition and on top in the industry, you don't have to downplay people, their health, their concerns, their social lives. You shouldn't downplay those ones, and you shouldn't downplay the environment. You shouldn't hurt the environment. You shouldn't destroy the environment because you want to remain on top. That's what we're looking at. So today's definition for our sustainability is more of being truly sustainable, not just for profit's sake, not just making the profit to say, oh, we are the richest company. Every year, we usually make profit. We usually make profit every year. That is not just all about it. The other questions would then be your customers, your products, are they okay for your customers? And the place you do business, is it okay, which is the environment? I hope somebody understands my explanation. Is it clear so far?
It's very clear, sir.
Thank you. Now, because of this word sustainability, we're going to be looking at um uh 3 Ps, which are the 3 Ps of sustainability. 3 Ps of sustainability. And the 3 Ps are profit, planet, and people. There are 3 Ps of sustainability. Okay. There are 3 Ps of sustainability, and these 3 Ps are profit, planet, and people. Now, profit is what you make or what the organization makes, okay, while doing business. The planet is the environment that the organization is doing its business, and the people represent the market or the customers or consumers that patronize the um, um, organization's products or services. Okay, so in the bid to make profits, all right, do not undermine the planet and do not undermine the people. Can anybody give me instances where companies or organizations or entities have tried to, or have actually uh, made profit by undermining, destroying the planet or the people? Anybody? Do you have examples?
Okay, sir.
Yes.
I wanted to even ask a question when you were talking about the undermining, undermining the
The planet and the
planet,
people.
the planet, that especially the planet, which related to the people within that environment where the government is located. Where I'm working is a very good example of what you are talking about.
Don't mention the name, just go on.
Okay, sir. Like where they are, there is a limestone, and especially where there is limestone, that's where the cement industry is located.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, when they are mining that limestone, it really affects the people within that environment.
Mm.
How can this, because okay, let me put it in this way. I heard that after some years, there must be an earthquake within that environment where they are mining the limestone. I don't know how true is this, but the one I know very well is when they are producing the cement, the dust. You understand? Because that environment is an hazardous area at the time when they are producing that cement. People that are living very close to that place, they are in a danger zone. How can this be resolved? That's the question I wanted to ask. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, um, you would know we are not in a class to resolve such issues, but then I must tell you that there are ways with which these can be addressed. Number one, the activities and operations of an organization, if they know how um uh unhealthy it will be for people around, then they should, that is supposed to be one of the requirements of the government, okay? They should have provided some safety things around that environment to be able to keep the people from falling prey to the hazards that may be created. For instance, uh, I have read, instances where in some other parts of the world, there are proposals, or there's a particular part of the world where there is a proposal to build uh airport terminal around in an area. All right. And by the time they went for their environmental impact assessment and social impact assessment stuff, from the EIA alone, the people in the area said no. They were scared of noise. The noise will really, really disturb them, takeoff and landing, noises of aircraft and all that. So no, we can't allow you have airports in this area. And many other complaints like that. And then when this assessment got to those that were supposed to, those managers of that industry, and I will always want to say government because they will form part of the regulatory bodies and all that. The government had to tell them, well, for these reasons, you cannot build, you cannot put any airport in this area. But if you can come up with how to address these problems, then come back to us and let's see if we can allow you discuss with the people in the area to see if they will accept. And then these people went back to their drawing board and designed how they can ensure that the people in that area do not hear the noise of aircrafts. They do not hear the noise of aircraft. They do not feel the vibrations of the activities of the airport. Nothing whatsoever in all the houses in the area. To as wide as the indigenous or the natives want it, they were able to map out that, came back to the government, and the government, okay, let's talk to the people and see. And then they profiled this solution. They had things they would use to just add to the ceilings of the houses, and those things would absorb vibrations, things they would add around the houses that would absorb vibration, the kind of windows they proposed for them and all that will absorb noise and all that. And I'm telling you, when they came back with their propositions, the people were okay. And these things were done to virtually every, sponsored by the investors. And before you know it, the airport is there as we speak. I don't know if that gives you an insight to the kind of answer I want to give you, Bambushe. Do you understand my story? I hope you're still there. Now, for the case you mentioned, it will have been something of that nature. Okay, this is what we're going to be doing in this, and there are people living around here. Number one, the question is, did they even conduct an environmental impact assessment? I'm sure the answer is no. Or if they did, maybe it's just in the file, to meet up some what do we call it? Uh Industry assessments and industry approvals. Maybe they'll just be in the files, but did they attend to those? Did they take the real complaints on board and attend? No. So it would have been simple if they're able to provide, could it be dust absorbance, okay, in the area, all right, to absorb dust, to ensure that no dust generated from the mining operations gets to houses. Very, very possible. Very, very possible. Okay, it would have been, it's something. Now, another thing, if you watch the way some very good companies had to channel their emissions from their machines, maybe their engines and their machines that bring out emissions, how they channel it to ensure that it does not disturb the air quality in the area. All those things are part of the things we can do to see that while we are making our businesses, while we're making profit, we do not affect the life, whether social life, health life, or whatever life of the people, and we also do not affect the impending earthquake, the impending earthquake that people are mentioning in that area, will be related to the planet, the environment. The fact remains that if this company is a big company, whether it is the National Assembly that is in charge of oversight function or whatever, everybody will be quiet until there is an earthquake. That's what happens to a country or a nation where we are more reactive than proactive. I don't know if Bambushe is listening to me. I've tried to play around your question. I have not gone straight to answer because we're not even in the class to provide those solutions. But I'm happy you have broadened your thinking to think about the people there, because they should have been considered. The planet itself that we're talking about, earthquake, should have been considered. And what do we do to ensure that we ward off these troubles coming to people and to planet while we make our profits? Is my answer clear, even if it is not direct to your... Is it clear? Is Mambushe there? Is anybody there? Did you hear the question? Is the answer clear?
Okay, although I didn't get the question because my network went off, but I can hear you clearly, sir.
Okay.
The answer is clear, sir. The answer is clear. It's a
Beautiful.
direct answer. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So let's move on. Let's move on. I think that answer has even made us to explain what we're looking at. While your company makes profits, you should know that without the environment that you are working in, if you destroy the environment, soon you will have no company. And if you destroy the people, soon you will have no customers. So sustainability now means your customers are there, healthy, sound, and still buying. The environment is there, healthy, sound, and still hosting you while you are still making your profit. I hope we understand. We understand that. Now, according to Grant 1998, there are, well, before that, we can see that, okay, we'll talk about CSR as we go on. Now, according to Grant 1998, there are three factors that can lead us to achieve, that can lead any organization to achieve sustainable competitive advantage. Okay, sustainability. Number one is durability. Number two is transferability. And number three is replicability. You must listen well. You must listen well so you understand where we're going with this. Grant says these three factors will help any organization to achieve sustainable competitive advantage. All right. And the first is durability, transferability, and replicability. Now, when we say durability, it means lasting long, staying for long. Durable means it has stayed for a long time. So the first factor that Grant talks about is the ability of organizations to remain in the marketplace for a long time. And he says that ability will eventually earn them sustainable competitive advantage, all things being equal. All right. So staying long in the marketplace, doing the right things, improving, taking advantage of change and all that, all things being equal, should earn an organization a sustainable competitive advantage in the marketplace. I have always looked at organizations that have spent 100 years and above in the marketplace. There are organizations like that have spent 100 years and above in the marketplace. Some have spent 50 years and above, some 20 years and above, 25 years in the marketplace. Those organizations have what it takes. If they are doing everything okay, and if all things remain equal, they have what it takes to achieve sustainable, competitive, and or remain, uh, at the helm of the competitive advantage edge. Okay. I usually use this Coca-Cola example where I read that for the first year, Coca-Cola sold only 25 bottles of their drinks. The first year of their creation, they sold only 25 bottles. So if they sold 25 bottles in a year, it means maybe they sold two bottles in a month, and they sold three bottles in one month. Okay, so 2 bottles of a drink in 1 month. I don't know how they sold it, but I know I just read they sold 25 bottles in a year. Now, if you were the head of Coca-Cola, I'm sure by that time you would have backed out and felt, I don't think we are called into this business. I don't think there's any way for this business, for us to do this business. But Coca-Cola remained from that first year till today. And as we speak today, Coca-Cola sells about 1.9 billion daily. 1.9 billion. I don't know if it is bottles or if it is money. I think they sell 1.9 billion bottles daily. Uh, 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 in in over 200 countries. You can Google it. You may have figures that are different, but Google it and you see it may be a bit close to what I've just said. Just punch your just go to Google and check. They started with only 24 bottles in a year. In one full year, 25 bottles rather. And today, in one day, they sell 1.9 billion, maybe bottles. It's not all their drinks that's bottles. They have can now and all that. They sell 1.9 billion daily in a day. How did they get there? They remained in the market. So I know this is not a motivational ground where I will say tell your neighbor remain and but advise yourself, remain. All right. The business world does not bring everything good all the time. Sometimes it is dicey. Sometimes as if you should retreat. Sometimes as if you should surrender. Sometimes as if you should close shop and forget about everything, but remain. Remain. As you remain and you keep doing everything that you should do, taking advantage of things you should take advantage of, you will discover that in the long run, you'll be better off for it. The first factor that leads to sustainable competitive advantage, according to Grant 1998, is durability. Stay there, remain. So, in the words of Grant, we say maximize durability. Maximize durability. Maximize it. Number 2 is transferability. Transferability is the ease with which people can transfer your brand, the secret of your brand success, the secret of your product uniqueness, the ease with which they can transfer that secret to other organizations. That's transferability. That's transferability. So if it is, how easy is it rather for people, maybe your staff, your friends, to transfer your trade secrets, your brand secrets, your uniqueness, tastes, products, all the kind of uniqueness that follows your product or service? How easy is it for it to be transferred to other companies to use? Once it is transferred, you will have no company because people will be doing exactly what you're doing. That ease with which to transfer is what we call sustainability. So in this case, if we are to use minimize and maximize, what should we use for transferability? If we are to choose minimize or maximize, which one should we use for transferability if we must achieve sustainable competitive advantage? Anybody? Is my question clear? Am I saying this class? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we are hearing you, sir.
Can you come back with the question, sir?
I said, is it the question you want me to come back with or the explanation of do you understand what transferability is?
No, I didn't get it right.
I
was
said
lost along the line.
Transferability is the ease with which people can transfer your product secret, your business secret, your brand secret, the ease with which they can transfer those things to other companies. If they are able to transfer those things, those secrets of your success to other companies, remember those other companies will use your success and then you will not be there anymore. I hope you understand. So the ease with which to transfer, the ease with which they can transfer it is what we call transferability. I am now asking a question. Should we say that transferability should be maximized or minimized in order to earn sustainable competitive advantage?
Minimize
Okay,
that.
for me, it should be minimized because every company tries to manage information. There is an information management in every company whereby you don't have to sell the secret of your sources to your competitors. Because once that happens, it means automatically you're out of business. So it should be minimized.
Thank you. Is there anybody that is confused about that answer?
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
It's not that I'm confused with what my colleague just said, but in terms of when the company is not, as in the welfareism of the staff is not well okay. Maybe the salaries and wages is not is not okay, and you now get a better offer from another organization. It's possible that the transferability can occur in that aspect, but it should be minimized. It's possible that it can be transferable.
You are 100% correct. But the fact is, what are you transferring at that level? You understand?
The secret
Let me tell you something, Mamoshe. For the level most people are in their organization, you don't have any secret that can wound the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? There is a level you get to when you get to the 5th floor, the 10th floor, the 6th floor. It may not be floor in this case, maybe the first, it may be the 6th door or the 7th door. You'll get to that place, you will think it's a cult. Those ones don't complain of poor salary.
Salary, yes, sir. Yeah, I agree. I agree, sir. Yeah.
hello,
Those
sir.
ones,
Hello, sir. Hello,
those ones
sir.
don't
Yes,
complain about poor welfare
Hello,
and poor
hello, sir.
salary. They are the
Hello, sir.
custodians. Listen,
of the
Bamboshe.
secret.
Listen, they are
Yes.
the
Hello, sir.
custodians.
Sir,
Bamboshe, listen.
I
I will allow you to speak.
disagree, sir.
Listen,
There is
listen.
something that happened recently to me that makes me to say what I just said. I have a director that is earning very large amount of salary, but
Mm-hmm.
they offered him a better salary at another organization, and he
Mm-hmm.
quitted and moved to another organization. Definitely, if what we are doing that makes us to be successful in the business, it can transfer it to another organization where he's working.
Bamboshe,
It can
now.
open the secret to them also.
I can come in also.
Can you listen now?
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay. Now, when I wanted to answer your question, I told you you were 100% correct, right?
Yes.
But I
Okay,
said
sir.
that the people that are custodians of company secrets are not the ones that complain of poor salary pay.
Yes.
They're not the ones that complain of poor welfare packages.
Yes.
So I'm not saying that a director cannot move. Even if the receptionist moves, there is a level of secret the receptionist can take away.
Yes.
You understand? If the
Yes.
gate man moves, there's a level of secret the gate man can take away. If the manager moves, there's a level. If the director moves, there's for the custodian of company, you don't know. Have you heard people say, to become a whatever in this place, it's like a cult. It's like they take
Yes.
votes.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I think you must understand. For those of us that have companies now and our companies are growing, understand that sometimes you may be the only one having your trade secrets.
Yes.
The secret behind the success of your brand, the secret behind the peculiarity of whatever you're doing. It is as you grow, you can admit one person into that room, admit another person into that room, because that place is not for everybody to stay. It is not for everybody to stay. You understand? Jeremiah, you wanted to say something? Let's hear you.
Yes, sir. I think I totally agree with you. What he's saying is just let me agree with you completely. The director that left or whosoever will leave can only have, let me say, 40% access to a particular secret, as he's talking about. And I discovered also, it happened, my elder brother told me it happened between Coca-Cola and 7-Up. He was there when they were taking. Anyone having that secret that is making the company thrive is always 2-3 steps ahead of every other person down the line. Even if you think you have gone seeing the secret to some certain level, and you take it, let me just give an example from, this is what is making Coca-Cola grow. I am moving from Coca-Cola to a major competitor like 7-Up to tell them this is, before you even settle down, Coca-Cola has gone the next 2 steps ahead.
Thank
with
you.
the secret at hand to make it bigger. So whosoever is thinking, I have maybe 100% of the secret, I've known the secret, and I'm moving from this to their competitor to make it better. It's just but playing with himself. There are people under the R&D that are working majorly in the top-notch people of that organization, as you said.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bambush, I hope you understand. We're not saying you're wrong. You're not wrong. Everybody has a level of secret, but the secret that can shake the organization, especially these big organizations, the secret that you can have that can close them down, you have not gotten it. One person doesn't have it. One person may not
Okay,
have.
sir.
You understand? So
Okay, sir.
what we are saying is as best as possible, if you want to achieve sustainable competitive advantage, make sure that you minimize the ability of people to transfer your secrets. Okay, your trade secrets, your brand secrets, make sure it is well minimized. Do you understand? Like some companies, when they want to send you out for training, okay, they make you sign a bond that if you go out for this training, by the time you come back to the country, you work with us for 3 years before you can resign. Why are they doing that? They want to keep what you have gone to learn, okay, within the company for the next 3 years. In 3 years, it's almost becoming obsolete or it is changing. You understand? And I must tell you, if you really know, just imagine you having a very close friend that you know you've told virtually everything about you. The next day you wake up and you see that friend is turning into an enemy. You will metamorphose somehow to have
Yes.
2-3 things that friend will not know anymore about you. That's how it goes. That's how champions live, and that's how they keep evolving. Do you understand? So, for durability, maximize durability. Stay there. Don't quit.
Yes.
Winners never quit. Quitters never win. Don't quit. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So use the Coca-Cola story as an inspiration. Don't quit. It is hard now. It is not going to be hard forever. Don't quit. Number 2, don't allow people easily transfer your uniqueness, your trade secrets, your product secrets, your brand secrets outside. All right, minimize transferability. So don't admit everybody into your secret room. It's not everybody that can come into the secret room. Let people earn it. Let them earn that part of your life. Whether it is personal or business, let people earn what they hear from you. Don't just feel that because they have fine face, fine voice, because they no. Because they achieve one thing, no. Let people earn it, or else if you just put your life in the hands of everybody because of emotions, you may be in for trouble. The last one there, according to Grant 1998, is replicability. Replicability is like reproducing. So we're going to be taking its domain, the ease, okay? The ease with which people, other organizations can reproduce your goods or your services. Remember, when you're making something and I can reproduce it, then me and you were sharing your market then. Do you understand? If I can reproduce exactly what you're making, then we are sharing your market. Am I correct? Somebody answer me now. Can you hear me at all?
We can hear you.
Yes,
You are
you're
correct.
correct.
You are
Please,
very correct, man.
yeah, I'm asking those. Sometimes I ask because I don't like quietness, but because we can't, that's why I keep asking, even if it's ridiculous questions, I need answers. Right. So make it difficult. Let me not go there. Let me not go there. Minimize replicability. Make it difficult for people to be able to reproduce what you're doing. Now, I'm not saying this is possible, but to big organizations, it is possible. Up till today, every other soft drink, I don't know what they call them, soft drink company, they don't understand or they've not been able to get what makes Coca-Cola to have a unique taste. And I read too. Was it I read or I watched? I read. I'm sure I read because what I read was almost like a movie to me when I was reading it. That's what I'm saying, whether I read or watched it. I think I read it, where two people, I don't know whether it is in Coca-Cola or in one of these beverage companies, many years ago in the US, I think, two people connived in one of these. I think, let me use Coca-Cola, please. I don't know. I've forgotten if it's Coca-Cola, but let me use Coca-Cola, for instance. Two people connived to steal a technology many years ago that Coca-Cola wanted to introduce to make their product distinct. To make it distinct, something that will change. I think that thing revolutionized the taste of Coca-Cola. And two people that were in that, high-profile meeting got wind of it, decided to sell it to another beverage company. So before it came, they were already negotiating with, for instance, let me say Pepsi or 7-Up. For instance, please, it's allegedly, let me use that word, so I'm not held for now. While they were negotiating with the rival, with the competing companies, the competitors already understood the implication of what they were hearing, and so they involved the FBI. Look at what these people are proposing to us. Look at what they say they want to sell to us. We think it is something that belongs to so and so company. And the FBI said, play along. And they placed all their mechanism to track discussions and all that. Just keep playing along. So when they were all set and when the technology has arrived, it was time to just move it and go and sell. And then the meeting was planned. And when these two people got into that meeting, they were arrested by the FBI. Technology was returned to the company that it's supposed to be for. And, these people were charged and all that. Now, what am I trying to say? Because the company or the companies respect the laws of the land, and they know that whichever way, the day that the owner of the technology will find out that it's somehow got into their competitors, they have a case, and they will always, the competitor that bought it will always have a case to answer up to closure. That's why they couldn't do that. But if you have a country where you can be going to court for the next 120 years because there's money, Next 120 years, adjourn. One judge recusing himself, the other one recusing himself, the other one saying I'm not qualified, the other one, everybody playing nonsense and doing nonsense. Then you see that other company, the rival company, would have bought that technology. If they could go away, get away with the law, they could maneuver the law, they would have bought that tech, but they know they couldn't maneuver the law. And so what were these people thinking that they could go scot-free with selling such things? So while you are in a place where people, the people can use money power to oppress the ones coming up, you must be careful as much as possible to understand or to know what you do at a time and what you allow at a time. Who gets into your secret rooms? I don't mean you should be doing juju or voodoo. You know what I mean? We're discussing business. Who gets into that secret corner, that kitchen cabinet of yours and all that? Maximize durability, minimize transferability, minimize replicability, and then you are on your way to sustainable competitive advantage. Does that make sense? Is there a question, please? Any question?
No question, sir.
Thank you.
On
Now
my
let's
side.
let's move on. Thank you. Let's move on. Now we have internal sustainability and external sustainability. Those are the two types of sustainability we have for every organization. Now we have looked at sustainability as the enduring growth, okay? The enduring growth. Now when we say internal sustainability, we're talking about the enduring growth within an organization, okay? Within, internal to the organization. And we know all those elements that fall into the internal business environment. Key amongst them is the staff, the employees. Okay. Now, so when we talk about internal sustainability, we're talking about growth within the organization and with those that are working in the organization. You understand? If you see a company that has low staff turnover over the years, low staff turnover, and you go into that company, you see people that are, 55 years are still there, 60 years, they're still working. And they begin to tell you stories of how they started working in this company when they were 28, when they were 32, and you're thinking 32 to 60. Wow. What is here that's made you stay so long? What is here that has made you remain for so long? You understand? They tell you how the company has metamorphosed from this to that, from that to this. You understand that there is a mechanism called internal sustainability that keeps the people growing and keeps them satisfied, benefiting from the growth of the organization, and they are not feeling like there's any other place they could go. That's why they remain. So when you have those elements of low staff turnover, there is, sustainability. When you see an environment that tries to provide quality working environment for the staff, pure communication, find processes for recruitment, find processes for selection, succession, and rewards, and everything all going on smoothly. And everything culminating in satisfaction, staff satisfaction, and proper orientation of staff, then you understand that they are thriving on, or they are working towards what we call internal sustainability. Such people, the staff, people come in at very young age and stay there till they retire. Many of them. I have not experienced that myself before until I got into where I work currently, and I see 64 years, 63 years, 60 years, 50 something years, all working in the organization, and they've been there since 20 something years, since, wow. And you have a blend of the old and the young experience, and you have a blend. You have somebody is always there to answer a question, however difficult, because there is precedence, there is history. And to answer a question, you don't know how beautiful it is to hear somebody relate history just to answer one question, and you smile and feel, wow. And then these things make you so comfortable, because in them you're also seeing your own future, and you're looking at the entire organization, the respect, the communication flow, the everything just going so seamlessly, and you feel, wow, that is what we're looking at when we talk about internal sustainability. What mechanisms have been put in place within an organization to ensure that everyone is so treated in such a way that they don't want to leave. I am not saying that there are no resignations in such organizations, but we say there is low staff turnover. The staff turnover is very, very low. I hope everyone understands what I'm saying. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. It's clear, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let's move on. Now, what are those factors that can promote internal sustainability? Okay, that can promote internal sustainability, or we say sustainability within the workforce. Remember, everything we've explained is about the workforce internal to the organization. So what are those factors that can promote sustainability within the workforce? Look at them there. Number one, flexible work and life employment patterns, reward and recognition schemes, internal communication channels, physical resource strategies, ethical management, business and team cultures and branding, internal customer awareness strategies, developing a safety culture, training and development. Now, these elements or these factors are factors that promote, okay, that promote internal sustainability, workforce sustainability. Now, number one, flexible work life employment patterns. I think from the earlier part of this class, we had a discussion about flexible, work-life balance. I don't know who brought up that discussion then, and I said we're going to still talk about it as we went on. Now, there is more to flexible work-life employment patterns or balance. What does it mean to you? What it means to you, is it what it means to your organization also? Because for the staff to expect something and for the organization to give that expectation, there are two different things. But when the expectation meets the action of the organization, then everybody is satisfied. When you need your holidays, do you get them? When you are on your holidays, are you still being called for work? Some people go on holidays and the company wants them, don't go outside Lagos, so we can call you anytime. What is that? What is that? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. When you're on holiday, you should be on holiday. When you want to go on holiday, should be when you should go for your holiday. There are mechanisms to manage these things. Some companies, immediately you get in January, you should fill out all your holidays. Yes, you can change them, but when you're changing them, be mindful. If you're changing them to when somebody else has already booked, then you may not be considered. So you can file in for your holidays at periods where maybe you want to be with families, maybe where you have family occasions, you have family outings, family vacations. You can file in for, and once you're on holiday, you're on holiday. Nobody disturbs you. In the office, once it is break time, you are supposed to go for your break. Nobody should give you some, not even your bosses. I am not saying that your bosses cannot give you something to do. I'm saying in the ideal promotion, the environment where we promote work and life, employment patterns and balances, break time, your bosses respect those break times also. Even the customers, and they all respect the break times because it is instituted by the organization for you to have that break. Some organizations, some managers will ask you, have you gone for break? Some organizations, because sometimes when there are issues and then nobody wants to lie about, yes, you've been going, whereas you've not been going. Sometimes you can even be given a query for not going for break because you want to put the organization in trouble. Why don't you go for break? And we see that sometimes with people that maybe go to some organizations that they feel are very good and they feel they want to impress, they want to give their all, whether it is in Nigeria or in any country, they want to give their all. And because of that, they're always wanting to, no, 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 no. And sometimes maybe your boss cites you and say, you're working too much. Drop what you're doing and go for your break. Even if it's a stroll, you want to use your break to stroll, just go for your break. It is important. Flexible work-life patterns, very important. You have issues and you cannot come into work. And somebody's asking, would you expect you to work the work? Or you are not well and then you call in sick. And I've had instances where some people call their office that they are sick and their boss tells them, who is well in Nigeria? You're calling me that you are sick. My friend, come here. Am I well? You understand? It's not. Once you're sick, you should stay away. So that's your organizations, you have your leave, your normal annual leave, then you should have your sick leave. All right. You should have your sick, which you can take from maybe when you have exhausted your annual leave and you fall sick, you have some days, whether 5 days or 10 days that you can take for your sick leave. It's after they've done all those and done all those, they can begin to consider, okay, maybe you're not fit, to work anymore and all that. So work and life balance could mean everything to all of us. But what we're saying is, whatever work does not promote your healthy life and healthy lifestyle, then it's not supporting work and life balance. If you see organizations that promote work and life balances, they know when you're to be with your family, they know when you're to be on your job, they know when you're to be on holiday, they know when you're to be. If you see such organizations, you see that people are always there and the staff turnover is usually low. Another one is reward and recognition schemes. Well, that one, I don't think we should explain that. I know of organizations where once you are clocking 3 years, there's an award for you and there's a raise. Once you're clocking 5 years, there's a bigger award just to encourage. So you see the ones that are bagging their 10 years award, 15 years award, and all that. People are always targeting to get the next award, and all that. And recognitions too. Put it on the company's website. So and so has just clocked a milestone with the organization. 10 years, of very rewarding career with the organization. We hope to work with you for another 10 years. You feel good when, you see those kind of things on your company's website. You feel good and you feel, wow, this is a family, internal communication channels where people can, there is no clog in the wheel of communication. You can talk to your supervisor, you can talk to your manager can talk to you, anybody can talk to anybody. It is not the environment where if you try to jump me and talk to my own oga, you are in soup. I will show you that there is a place we meet that you cannot reach. What kind of threat is that? And then you even go to talk to a bigger oga self. You say, have you spoken to your, but are you sure you are not jumping the gun? No, nobody should make you feel unsafe with information you're passing. If these things are not playing out in your organization, don't go and force it. Oh, we are teaching book here. Oh. It is book we are teaching. Do we understand?
We learn. We're also learning so that we can implement what we learn too, sir.
Absolutely, but within the purview of what your organization tolerates.
Okay, noted.
Yes, within that purview. Don't push anything. Little by little, you could give a word in the boardroom. You could give a word during a meeting, and it changes so many things. But know these things, and when you have your own, please understand that this is how it should be. Physical resource strategies, how we've talked about resource planning and all that, and even the stakeholders, and how you can work around stakeholders to be able to carry everybody along. Ethical management, managing people in a way that even the society will say yes. I was watching, I was on the internet yesterday, and on social media, I saw a woman that was burying her daughter, and the caption was, or what she said, or I think what she said, or what the caption was, I think what she said during the burial was, uh, they had to start homeschooling their child, their daughter, because she was being bullied in school and she could not go to school anymore. Now, the daughter eventually, I think she eventually killed herself. But that the painful thing is, this bullying is not coming from students now. It's now even coming from teachers who should have been, the custodian of these children. So if bullying should come from teachers, then the student feels there is nowhere to go anymore. So the teachers are, some of the teachers are apparently not managing the students the way the society deems fit. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. Many of us in the organizations, have you ever had maybe a boss or a story where a boss will tell his staff, I will slap you and nothing will happen? A boss.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Tell his staff, I will slap you and nothing will happen.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot use such a word for another colleague. It's a colleague. We easily don't even call our bosses colleagues in Nigeria. They are not colleagues, they are boss. But we are all colleagues normally. You understand? So there should be ethical management that respects people. There is a situation now in the country where a woman is trying to say she was being sexually harassed by her boss, and the boss has said they should close down everything pertaining to her. She was suspended, she was this, she was that. The ethics committee, before the case came, they said it was a no case, and everybody just walking like a republic of ignorant people. Nobody's really hitting the nail on the head. And she's bragging or priding herself that she has gone to court. The court that is still a subsect of the I don't know what to come out. I'm not saying that what she said is true or what the man is saying is true. I'm not on anybody's side. I'm just saying what we see in Nigeria plays out in organizations. Remember when we started for organizational culture, we said the culture of most organizations in Nigeria are borrowed from the national culture. How many people can get up in organizations to say their boss harassed them sexually and they want to go to court? They will go poor with the court cases. Some of the ones that are finding expressions are the ones that even social media now pick up their case. or that they have recorded evidences and all that. It's not easy. The one that still flashes my mind once in a while is the soldier that was, that came out, the young lady soldier that came out and was talking about how generals were assaulting her and all that, and they just branded her as insane, as having what is it called? And the case is closed. The case is closed. I was expecting, I'm sure she could not contact people like Falano or people like the presidential aspirant that is always on the troublesome side. What's his name? Showore and the Adeyonju them. I'm sure she didn't contact them to help her fight her case. If not, they would have been dragging the matter in court, and those people will get something out of it. But then she did not. She doesn't have money, apparently, or she doesn't have the connections. But do we have a society where the downtrodden will be kept under forever? Or do we have a society that can speak up and even make some high-powered people a scapegoat? Ethical management is another one. Business and team cultures and branding, your retreats, branding. Sometimes people say, okay, every Friday, this is what we wear in the office. And then maybe you're going for a retreat for the weekend, just organization. Everything that makes people feel that no, 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 they die here. They want to stay here. They're not going anywhere. Sometimes, like um what's his name was saying, you could even get other organizations that want to pay you more. But then you are asking yourself, should I sacrifice this familyhood for just pay? What will I even see there? Has it crossed anybody's mind before? Has that thought crossed anybody's mind before? Is there anybody here that can hear me? Have you had an opportunity before, or has somebody close to you had an opportunity before where they will give them more pay somewhere else, but they just couldn't sacrifice the bond they had where they are to go and get more pay? Have you had a situation like that before?
No, sir.
Has anybody here had such situations? Well, I have. I have had such situations before where even if there are, attractions, come, we'll give you a car, we'll give you pay, your pay will be whatever, whatever. But the person just couldn't leave the company because it's not like a family place for him. And it feels okay, it's better I stay here and feel this comfortable, this, with everybody around me, than to go to a new place. I don't know how it is. I don't know what I'm going to be faced with and all that, and all. I think I've had such situations before. Now, these elements ensure that there is what we call, or these are the factors you see for you to know that there's what we call internal sustainability, workforce sustainability. Take note of it, please. Let's move on. Well, these are all the explanations. I will send you my slides, but I think they are almost same thing in your material. Then the last one is the external sustainability. Now, if you look at the internal sustainability and external sustainability, the factors are a bit somehow the same. But then when we talk about external sustainability, um, we're talking about that business or that organization in the industry. Put it that way. Look at your organization amidst the committee of organizations within the industry. All right, so how do you sustain yourself in the industry? Some companies are out of existence because they were blacklisted by the government. I don't know how many of you agree with that. Some are out of existence because the people rose against them. and then government had a wind and all that. Okay, so if the people and the government, for instance, can make some companies get out of existence, then it simply means there are some things we should do as organizations to keep ourselves within the committee of industry of organizations within an industry, and sustain ourselves and remain there. Now, those factors that can lead to external sustainability are environmental assessments and audits. You're always having to do assessments and audits on the environment with which you work. Remember, sustainability is make your profit, take care of your planet, and also take care of the people. The planet is what we call the environment. Another thing is political, cultural, and social positioning. You're always, when a new political power comes in, you know how to reposition yourself to ensure that you survive during that dispensation. When a new one comes in, you know how to position yourself to ensure you survive. For instance, that communication is not a lover of APC. In short, it's almost a PDP organization. And you know why I call it a PDP organ? The late founder or the late owner of that communications is a staunch chieftain of the PDP and has gone through serious travel, went through serious travel in the hands of the last administration and all that. All right, the man is late now, and I know we know, but then it is still in existence. It is still in existence. They're still thriving, still going on because of positioning. Arise News or Arise TV, for instance, it's not a friend. Also, sorry for the want of language. It's not somewhat of a friend to the political power of the day. You understand? But then they are still surviving. Political positioning, cultural positioning, social positioning to ensure that you remain as an organization within the committee of organizations in that industry. Customer service analysis and audit. If you don't have this, then you may be losing your customers without knowing. Customer service analysis, customer service audits. How many customers did we have as at the close of last year? How many did we have as of 2 years ago? Are we increasing? Are we reducing without knowing? Do we have more 80 percent to 20% customers? Which ones are we dealing with? What are we doing? All those things will make you strengthen yourself within the industry. Flexible work-life patterns, we know that already. Those ones are things that can, from the inside, glow to the outside and make people feel like, no, we are here. And people feel that, why is it that your company, they don't put adverts? It's because people are not leaving, people are not resigning, people are not, they are not even dying, they are just there. We are all working until they reach retirement age. So that's why those things, all the flexible life balance, reward and recognition scheme, external communication, they radiate from the inside to the outside. As long as the inside is stable, the outside also remains very stable. But you can see that the first three are peculiar to external. Then other ones now join, because we can also explain other ones as part of the external sustainability. Is there any question, please? Is there any question so far?
No questions, sir.
All right. Okay. I've looked at two of the important things I think we should look at today. Okay, I think we still have some more classes to go, and then we can We're on course. I am happy we did this, what we did today. And the next thing I think we'll be looking at is collaborative structures. That's what we'll be looking at next. And I don't know if I should give you a brief so you can then in 10 minutes. Okay. Okay, no, we'll look at that in the next class. Do you want to go for a break or do you want me to just switch? You want to go for a break, a short break, and come back, or should I just continue with the next course?
Let's continue. Let's continue and finish up at 10.
All right, I'm not going to stay long on the next course. But for today, please, we've been able to deal with the things I think we should deal with. The last one that I think we should deal with before we start going through the routines again will be collaborative structure. After this, we'll then continue with our normal routines in the course. Okay. All right. That's fine if there are no questions. Where did we stop in ADIP 02, please? Does anyone remember? Does anyone remember where we stopped? I think we've done everything about organizational politics and all that. I think we're on strategic leadership on ADIP 02. Am I correct? This class is so cold. I'm really, really desirous to run away from this class today. So cold today. We're looking at, I think we're on strategic leadership, and we've looked at leadership itself, and I've tried to tell you the 3 aspects of leading according to Mullins, which we say future, engage, and deliver. Can anybody say yes if that's true? Have you heard those things from me? Did you hear those things from me in the last class?
I think the leadership frameworks where we'll look at the task need, the team maintenance needs, and individual needs.
Yeah, and then we also looked at the yes, we looked at the inter leadership frameworks. That's true. We've looked at the
Leadership
situational
framework.
leadership also. Remember, we looked at the situational leadership, right?
Yeah, situational leadership, exactly.
Yeah, we also looked at the managerial grid. Thank you. Yeah, that's true.
I think we stopped at I marked it characteristics between transformational
And transactional
transactional
leadership. Yeah.
leadership. Yeah. That's where that page 74.
Thank
That's
you.
where we stopped. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll soon be getting off your faces, okay? So please just bear with me. Before 6, I'll let you guys be. Many of you seem to be tired and you're not talking in my class today, and I'm not happy.
Some of us are in the office. We're in the field.
Okay.
So we are just trying to combine the two.
And I hope it is making sense. Combining the two is making sense for you.
Yes, yes, it
I
does.
understand what it means to work and learn at the same time.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Let's let's quickly just consolidate on what we've done so far. Now we stopped here where we had where we have differences between the transactional and transformational leaders. Okay. Okay, let's look at this one now. Let's go straight down. Please, you have a lot to look at. There's something we call appointed. We're looking at ADIPO2 now. Okay, and then we're looking at appointed leaders because we're on leadership. Okay. Now, when we say leaders are appointed, we understand this could be by election, this could be by appointment or whatever we call it. But then in this case, we understand that most of the appointments are either made by the subordinates or by those that accept such persons as leaders. In this case of appointed leaders, the relationship with the subordinate is dependent on how the leader was originally appointed. If the leader was appointed by the leader, by the subordinate, then there'll be, a kind of relationship. If the leader was appointed by somebody over the subordinates, I'll give you, for instance, let's assume somebody will say, okay, who is going to be our class rep? And everybody say, oh, P, be the class rep. And he says, okay. It simply means that we all chose him and we all want to work with him. All right. We all freely gave him the power to do what he is doing. And then we all are in support because we all contributed to saying, yes, go ahead, we give you the power to do it. But if I just come and say, okay, Jeremiah, from today you are the class rep, and people feel, why will you just come and impose somebody? I may give him the power, but he may not have necessary cooperation from the students, and that may hinder or that may limit the level of his success as a leader. So we'll talk about appointed leader. Whereas I can appoint a leader, okay, but then if I appoint a leader and majority of you don't give him the necessary cooperation, it will limit his success. But if you appoint the leader, okay, you will give him your necessary cooperation, and that will also affect his success positively. There are three methods of appointment, and each of these methods will measure the effectiveness of dealing with subordinate relations. Number one, attempted leadership. Attempted leadership. In this case, the leader is not appointed officially, but it tries to exert influence over members of the group. I don't know if anybody has been made a leader in this class or made the class representative. I don't know. But then, if nobody has been made the class leader, but we still see one or two persons that we always want to galvanize everybody. Let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, let's do that. They are particular about their success, and they know the importance of everybody joining in to make everybody successful. And they're not just keeping it. Some people know these things, but they keep it. Others have that ability to come forward and push this case forward, So attempted leadership, no appointment yet officially, but then they are already working as leaders because they're exerting influence over the members of the group. It is easy for such people to be appointed leaders at the end of the day, but well, that definition is for attempted leadership. The other one is successful leadership. Successful leadership. Now, when that attempted leader, when the attempts and the influence of that attempted leader now brings about some kind of results expected by the leader, maybe by me, for instance. I come to class and I say, do we know about appointment? Oh, yes, we had a class and we went through it. Well, I'll say that's fine. Do you know about this here? If I know you have concluded the entire material and it's just for me to just answer questions, and I feel, how did this come about? So it was so and so that galvanized everybody, and we had our own class. We usually make studies maybe one time, once in a week or whatever and all that. And I feel, wow, once you begin to recognize the success is made by that leader, is it clear now? That attempted leader, once you begin to make successes, then you can, at the end of the day, you see, it is now even much easier to make such a person lead, a leader, to make such a person appointed as the leader. Now, your material says this can be compared with transactional leadership. When we talk about transactional leadership and visionary leadership, transactional leadership is the leader is being obeyed because of some transactions of maybe making their welfare better or helping them to stand and negotiate with management and all that. Is it clear now? When we begin to see results of what you're doing, then it nails the point that yes, this person can easily be appointed. Now, we're talking about appointment as dependent on relationship with subordinates. So from attempted to successful, now to effective, you see, each steps makes it easier to be appointed. As a person goes through each steps, fulfilling each step makes the work easier, makes the appointment easier. Effective leadership, when successful leadership results in behavior of subordinates and achieve behavior of when successful leadership results in behavior of subordinates and achievement of group goals. That success that has been achieved under successful leadership is now able to modify behaviors, change people's behaviors, help them to achieve group goals and all that. You begin to see that in that case, okay, behavior has come in, not just like I'm transacting for you, not just I'm going to negotiate for you, not just that I'm having win because you have confidence in me. Now you yourself, you are beginning to, behaviorally submit, okay, and our goals are also as a group are being achieved, then it is now easiest to make such a person, to appoint such a person a leader. In that case, we'll be looking at the person as a visionary leader. The visionary leader are those charismatic leaders. They may not have anything. You just want to join their belief system. You just want to hold on to them and work with them because you share in their vision, remember. So when somebody has acted so well, achieved so much that you begin to feel that I should live like this person, I should think like this person, your behavior is beginning to change. You're beginning to, the ones that are very quiet and feel like a one-man squad are beginning to speak up because they're encouraged by the behavior of that so-called leader. Behaviors are changing, goals are being achieved. Then it is now turning from a transactionary to a visionary. I hope you understand the steps we went. We went from the attempted. We went down to the transactionary where we now begin to see that some results are being achieved. From transactional, we went to visionary, where we started seeing that even because of the results being achieved, people are now falling in love with the personality of this leader. They're now falling in love and they're now beginning to adjust themselves. I don't care if they are your mates or they're now beginning to adjust their lives to say, how can I even be like this person? Okay, that person has moved from an attempted leader to successful leader and then to an effective leader. Each stage, as I said, makes it easier and easier and easier to appoint such a person as a leader. I hope that is clear. I hope we understand. There are
Yes,
questions.
sir. It's very, very, very clear, sir.
Thank you. Now let's quickly, we'll be wrapping off here. Let's look at the leadership and power. Is there any leader without power? The answer is no. Leadership is all about influence. Leadership is all about influence, and influence is dependent on the kind of power that the leader can exercise. Hear me. Leadership is all about influence. Traditionally, leadership was all about power. So during the time of the military era, for instance, or the time of kings and whatever, all those, what do they call their kind of rule, then nobody cares about influence. In short, nobody becomes king then by being influential. You become king because you come from a royal family or something. So nobody cares about influence. Just be a male child and be born by the king. One day it may be your turn, no matter how you live your life. You understand? But today, leadership concentrates more on influence. It is those that exert influence on you that you submit to most of the time. But then influence sometimes is determined, is dependent on the kind of power that the leader exercises. So we're going to be looking at different kinds of power. French and Revin, 1968, identified 5 main sources of power. Some people will say there are types of power. So if you see types of power or sources of power, you're fine. Number 1 is reward power. And this is based on the team's perception that the leader can reward subordinates, whether by promotion, by praise, by granting them privileges, or by recognition. Reward power. So once you perceive somebody can promote you, somebody can praise you, somebody can grant you privileges or recognize you, you sometimes submit to such persons because the person has reward power influence by you. All right, so the team in this case, their perception is that the leader can reward subordinates, and that's why they submit to the leader, because he has reward power. There is what we call coercive power. Coercive power, and the perception here by the team is that the leader can punish subordinates. It's coercion, force, coercion. So coercive power is a power of force. So it is always related to punishment if you don't comply. Punishment for non-compliance. And such punishment in the organization could be withholding pay, withholding promotion, or even dismissal, queries. All right, a person that is big enough to query you, to withhold your salary, to demote you and all that, you submit to such person because you don't want to get into such troubles. So you can see that reward power and a coercive power, they are opposite of each other. One is for reward, while the other one is for punishment. Number 3, legitimate power. Legitimate power, and it is based on the perception that the leader has right to influence, to influence because the leader has perceived authority. He has perceived authority and is based on hierarchical position to expect compliance. You are in an office. You are the assistant manager, and then you have the manager. Legitimately, the manager is more powerful than the assistant manager. Or you are the assistant manager, and then you have a director. Legitimately, by hierarchy, by positional placement within the organization, you know that position can has wields a legitimate power over you. All right. So you submit because he's the boss. That's what you say. It's my boss. It's my oga. You submit. Legitimate power. You are in a country and the president is there or the governor. They have legitimate power. Sometimes we call that political power. So we could have legitimate power when we're talking about office situation, and we could have political power when we talk about politics, or talk about those that we all contributed power to by election, and because of that, we've relinquished our own powers to them, and have told them to rule over us. Then there is reverent power, which is based on the identification with the leader. Is like power that comes from a leader that is being perceived to be attractive, or that has some personal strong personal characteristics or reputations and charisma. Reverent power. When we say reverend father in the church, sometimes, reverend this, reverend that, you just submit to such people because they have some kind of perceived attractiveness, characteristics, reputation, or charisma that people want to be, associated with. Is it clear now? That is the only thing that makes you respect the leader. And then we have expert power, which is based on the fact that a person is competent or an expert in an area of knowledge and all that. And because of that, people respect them. Accountants, logisticians, transportants, lawyers, engineers, because of that special kind of knowledge you have, that special kind of competence that you have, you are able to wield expert power. When you want to talk, people listen. When you're making a recommendation, people are careful to follow through with your recommendation. You wield expert powers. Any questions? Are there questions?
No question from here.
I hope the class has been clear so far. We're wrapping up here.
Yes, sir.
Please,
Yes, sir.
let's remember where
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Noted.
A lovely weekend. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Sir, please. Sorry, sir. I just remembered something now.
Yeah, go on.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, go on.
For our exams, I don't know when it's going to fall into. Will it be early June or late June or early July?
It's usually going to be late June or late July.
Okay, late June.
Yeah,
Okay.
mid to late June and mid to late July. I don't have the exact date yet, but I know it's always mid to late time of the month that it always falls.
Yeah, hello, Mr. Kissel.
Okay.
The exam is
because
hold on. Mr. Gabriel is here. Yes, let's hear you.
the exam is 9th for advanced diploma is 9th and 10th of July.
Oh, that's
9th
early
and 10th
July.
of July.
Yeah.
Yes.
Early July.
The timetable will soon be passed.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
That's good.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so you all have the information. So you should start looking for how to get your leave and all that. 9th, 10th July for the advanced diploma.
For the advance, okay. 9 to 10. Copy.
Thank you, Mr. Gabriel.
Yeah.
All right. Have a lovely weekend, okay? We'll see you
And you
again.
too, sir.
Bye.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir.